Warzone Battle Royale has a ton of new features and upcoming information that you likely won't want to miss. In fact, so much so that we discussed 62 things that you need to know before jumping into the mode for the first time earlier today, and that still only scratches the surface really. Of those features, there's a huge new set of them that includes a new in-game monetary system, which is simply named as cash, buy stations to use cash, and then a new feature called drop kits. In this video, I want to take a little bit more of an in-depth look at these features and lay them out perhaps a little bit more clearly than just the surface level that we got to earlier in today's video. As we go along, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything you particularly really enjoy, anything that you maybe don't enjoy, or that you're looking forward to out of these systems, or anything else at all relating to Warzone? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to drop them down there. But as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Warzone. With tomorrow's launch, you know we're going to be crushing it in terms of the content on hand, so make sure you don't miss a single thing. Hit that subscribe button to stay right here. But anyways, let's get into the discussion at hand. Let's start simple. Let's start with cash. Cash is exactly what you'd think. It's an in-game monetary system that really has a much deeper control on the pace and the meta of the game as we see it unfold throughout the duration of the game. Warzone isn't necessarily a traditional battle royale game in a couple of things. It's not as simple as just drop in, loot up, and then survive. Cash is a strategic asset that helps you in many situations in game. From buying respawns, streaks, and the likes, cash can be a determinant that quickly and completely swings a surefire situation the entire other way. Firstly, let's discuss how cash can be acquired. There's three main ways to get it. 1, by looting an enemy's dead body for their items. 2, looting crates and occasionally on the ground around the map. And 3, contracts. The first and the simplest explanation for how to acquire cash comes down to simply just looting another enemy's body. Part of the very nature of Battle Royale is killing an enemy and then taking all their stuff, giving you the better loadouts in theory as time progresses and as you get more kills. This naturally extends to the cash aspect of loot as well. From preliminary pre-release gameplay that we got, we didn't really have any definitive way to tell if this was all the cash a player had or if it's a partial split. My guess would be the latter, because you'd often pile up cash incredibly fast if you are a slayer. But these piles of cash will be easily visible and can be quickly looted while running over the enemy's dropped loot, stacking with yours, making you richer each engagement that you end up winning. Organically though, you can find cash in two different ways, or earn cash in two different ways. The first of which is dealing in the looting phase. Piles of cash can be found in various denominations around the map, occasionally spread out just in the open for you to quickly pick up, or it's predominantly in loot crates where you can try and find other goods like blueprints, ammo, equipment, and the likes. As with all the other items you'll find, it's completely RNG based and distributed at random, so there doesn't seem to be any surefire way or surefire location that will grant you the mother lode of all cash. The other way though that will exponentially help your cash shields depending on the level of involvement is the new feature called contracts. Contracts are items that you can pick up and activate via either looting from a dead body or just looting around the map, and it will task you with one of 3 categories or kind of subplots to simply winning the match. They're quest lines within your ultimate goal to be the last team standing. You'll find either a scavenger contract, which will task you with looting crates, a recon contract, which will task you with securing intel at a specific location, and then as well a bounty contract, which will see you tasked with hunting down an enemy player with pings of their general location, but not their exact location. And the twist is that they will know you're coming, so they may be ready for that engagement if you end up coming for them. In game, it gives them a little bit of a heads up as well. So if you complete any of those challenges, you'll be rewarded with cash. Now, why is it important to load up on cash? Well, because gaming the in-game economy system can be incredibly advantageous. Around the map, there are a various number of buy stations that you can interact with, and you can purchase items that can be incredibly helpful given the amount of cash you have on your person. At these buy stations, you can buy a various number of things, including armor plates maxing out at 5, a shield turret, a cluster strike marker, a gas mask, a precision airstrike, a UAV, a self-revive kit, a munitions box, and a loadout drop marker, as well as the ability to even buy back squad mates who were previously eliminated. Pricing can get pretty steep, but at the same time, you can bank quite a bit of cash in a relatively quick fashion. From playing objectives like contracts to securing kills, by mid to late game, you won't really be stressing about cash all that much if you have a healthy helping of all sorts of engagements. Kill streaks aren't as much a factor as many players could have believed, which is nice, but the most important part of the buy stations, definitively, to me, are things like gas masks, self-revive kits, and squad buybacks. We discussed earlier that the gas hits and that it hits hard. With no bandages, med kits, or trauma kits like Blackout, there's no way to regenerate your health while in the gas, and it will quickly take you down. The only way to avoid this is by purchasing a gas mask. Bear in mind, from preliminary gameplay, the buyable one was the common variation. You can find different levels of rarity of gas masks while looting, which to my knowledge, the higher rarity prolongs the amount of time you can have in the gas without taking damage. Additionally, self-revive kits are also something that's a huge helper as well, but the price starts to go up at this point. These can be really helpful in situations where players may not be anticipating another gunfight and may let their guard down. One example that I wasn't quite able to capitalize on, but may have been able to if I played it slightly different, was when I was in a 1v2 or a 1v3 pinch situation. I was taken down, but I saw them break off to try and see if there was anyone of my squad else out there, and I was reviving myself, and if I maybe had one less weapon to focus on, maybe I could have gotten it, but it certainly is a nice advantage if you're not staring down the barrel of a gun. If you're somebody that got sniped and you got taken out, well, this is of course really helpful because you won't have anybody challenging you immediately, but gives you another chance at the fight. It's also great for another surprise mechanic if it is close to the fight. As well, squad buybacks are incredibly important. If you missed today's earlier video, we discussed the gulag and what it entails, but while you can fight for your own respawn, you can only do that once per game, regardless if you win or lose. After you get eliminated again, you don't get to go back to that gulag a second time. You must rely on your squad mates to buy you back into the action for 4,500 cash each. This can be done at any buy station though, and can even be pinged by the players spectating, requesting a buyback, which will mark it for them. So late in the game, this can come in great handy as well. But as we mentioned in today's earlier video, if you do buy back a respawn late game, just be conscious that you're gonna have to drop in through quite a bit of smoke, which does do damage on the way down. So bear that in mind. And finally, the last key topic that I want to break down a little further is once again something you can buy with cash at a buy station, and that's a loadout drop marker for 6,000 cash. This is an incredibly useful tool that is new to Warzone Battle Royale and introduces a more custom tailored way to play the game going forward. We saw rumors before the launch and before anything else, and reports that would say that custom classes were coming to Battle Royale, and people immediately thought this would be pertaining to dropping in, like you started out with a full kitted loadout, which doesn't seem fair and wouldn't be, but it actually doesn't happen, so don't worry about that. The only time you can get your creator classes is when you call in a loadout drop. This is the only way to get your exact custom build that you want. We talked about earlier that weapons are bare with no attachments by default. There is no attachments that you can pick up or loot either, so adjusting your weapon on the fly, you can't really do that. The only way you can have attachments on a weapon is if you find a blueprint or you have your custom class that again you can get from your loadout drop. Once called in, there will be a cluster of drops with your team being able to access one singular drop of that group. The catch though is that the other drops are also hot, meaning that they're drops for other teams who will also see a marker and see that there is one available and could very well be approaching them. This creates a high risk, high reward situation that you could go and get your optimal loadout for, or you could use as perhaps bait and pick off enemies in an ambush, or maybe you do both. Loadout drops will kit you out with a full custom class worth of items, a primary, a secondary, or maybe a second primary if you run overkill, 3 perks, a lethal, and a tactical. And considering this loadout, it's the only way that you can get perks in Battle Royale. So there definitely is an advantage to trying to call one in on top of just maybe getting that weapon that you really want. So the question comes down to, will you risk it? But from this, you can see that there is an entirely new dynamic into Warzone Battle Royale. It's not simply just any more drop in, loot up, and survive. Instead, there's a little bit more strategy to it. There's a little bit of some side quest lines that will see you with doing things in game other than just simply trying to survive. It adds a little bit more to do and therefore maybe suits a couple of different playstyles or creates some even, but will be something you definitely want to be conscious of, starting firstly with that cash. It can lead to absolutely everything. It can lead to game-changing moments, game-changing items and equipment. So make sure that you loot up, make sure you understand all of them, and be sure to remember you have the option to, even late game, buy a gas mask, buy a precision airstrike, buy a UAV that will help you see the enemies. Do all that kind of stuff and make sure that you take it with you into your everyday game. So hopefully this helped you out in some way, shape, or form. Just wanted to clarify a little bit more of what we talked about in just passing earlier today, but hopefully this helped you out. If it did, drop a like down below. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Do you like this inclusion of a new system of play, a new way to maybe even alter how a situation could end up unfolding, or do you think it might be something you may not pay attention to? I think honestly though, if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to be at a disadvantage because it is something so integral, though seemingly foreign to us right now, that it will be something that makes its way into everybody's gameplay as time progresses. But love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. If you guys are enjoying the Warzone content and want to stay up to date with absolutely everything you need to know, do be sure to hit that subscribe button as well, because today we're continuing with the content, tomorrow we're continuing with the content, and of course all throughout afterwards. I am excited as ever to to kill it with the launch of a new mode and a ton of content I can bring you guys. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all of that. But if you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But outside out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.